What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug, and welcome to my SummerSlam 2016 predictions video. As always, let me know your predictions down in the comments below. And man, there is a lot to cover. There are 11 matches on SummerSlam. It has a special start time of 7 p.m. Eastern, and there is a 2-hour pre-show, and I bet you, it still goes over 11 o'clock. It still goes to like 11:15 or 11:20 because they want it to be a mini, like, WrestleMania in the summer. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with it. That being said, our kickoff match, we have the first in the best of 7, which they've already had like 3, but whatever. It is Cesaro versus Sheamus, and I think this one, honestly, when you consider that Sheamus, or that Sheamus lost the last 2 against Cesaro, like in a row, I think certainly having this kick off with, no pun intended, Sheamus winning against Cesaro in the first match in the best of 7 makes sense. But also, why is this kickoff show 2 hours with 1 match? I don't know. Perhaps they'll move the 6 women's tag match to the kickoff show. I don't know. I'm just reading off of the .com site, so this is the information that I have for you. So, that being said, man, that's going to be a long and boring feud. Hopefully with some good matches in it. Anyway, we have a 6 women's... It's so much easier to say 6 divas, but they aren't divas anymore. It is a 6 women's match. It is Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya, Alexa, and nobody! Or at least right now, nobody. Because Eva Marie is suspended for a wellness violation. All PED everything, and by PED I mean performance-enhancing drugs. Anyway, the rumor here is that it might end up being that third individual might just be Nikki Bella, who is now cleared to compete. But are they going to bring her back as a heel? I guess that's the question. I think, regardless, the faces go over in this match. Either way, I don't see much of a reason for Natalya and Alexa and whatever mystery third person there might or might not be in this match to go over. So yeah, faces, matches is going to be kind of, like, if they all do individual entrances, this is going to be, the entrance is going to be longer than the match itself. But all I can hope for is please, please, please have the Eva Marie announcer pretend like she's going to be there, do the whole fucking shtick, and then be like, could not be here, is on vacation for 30 days. That'd be amazing. Please. Anyway, we move on to another match I really don't care about. It is The Miz versus Apollo Crews, not Apollo Creed, for the Intercontinental title. And man, don't you think Cesaro wishes still he was on SmackDown? Because Cesaro could be in a spot having a match with The Miz and hopefully going over for the IC title. Instead, we have The Miz defending against Apollo Crews, who I think is still too green, and I think will lose this match, and The Miz will retain the IC title. Moving on, we have Enzo and Big Cass versus Jericho, aka Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens, and honestly, it feels like the only reason that tag team exists in the first place, outside of being hilarious, are the fact that they're going to put over Enzo and Cass strong in their hometown of Brooklyn. I see no reason for this to be a big, tag team feud for Enzo and Cass, and to have them lose. There's no reason for that. So, certainly, I think that Enzo and Cass go over here in Brooklyn. I think that crowd is going to be on their fucking feet. I think they filmed an NXT episode with Enzo and Cass in Brooklyn last year for that NXT thing, and the reaction was huge. I expect an even huger reaction at SummerSlam proper. Anyway, continuing on with the tag team division, we have The New Day versus The Club, which is Gallows and Anderson, for the tag team titles. And again, I see no reason to take the belts off The New Day. Perhaps they're going to have them break the Legion of Doom's record. I don't know. But I see no reason for them to get those belts off those guys. And is this a... Oh, no. RKO? Nope. But I think the overarching story here is that, certainly, as Randy is vipering up here repeatedly, all it takes, 1 RKO to Viperville. That's all it takes, Randy. That's all it takes. 1, 2... No, he kicked out. I'll get to that later. So, I think, obviously, the reason that the New Day retains here is the return of Big E, who has been out, indefinitely with ring postitis. I think certainly that's your big return, is at SummerSlam. That is, like, super obvious, so that puts the New Day over once again. And then perhaps from there, after this, we move on to that New Day Enzo and Cass feud, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving on, we have Sasha Banks and we have Charlotte fighting for the women's title. And I see no reason to take the belt off of Sasha just yet. Certainly there could be some shenanigans, but obviously we know Dana Brooke is banned from ringside. Certainly the potential return of Ric Flair, woo, is always there. But I think, long story short, that Sasha retains, unless, there could be shenanigans. But I think Sasha retains here with a nice, hotly contested, very close match. Hopefully, might steal the show as much as Sasha and Bayley stole the show last year at the NXT TakeOver thing in Brooklyn. So there's history there. So we'll see. Anyway, speaking of title matches, again, there we go. We have Rusev fighting Roman Reigns. Now, I know the popular opinion here will be that Roman Reigns wins, LOL, because he's, even though he got popped for the drugs, or the whatever, Adderall, something, and now he's the, big dog in the mid-card, right? This is his punishment for getting hit for a wellness suspension, is moving down the card into the mid-card, even though technically right now, U.S. title is not mid-card, because they haven't brought out that new belt yet for the top Raw belt. It's still, the top belt is the U.S. belt right now. And as of this match, top belt. And he's been closing the goddamn show. Anyway, Roman Reigns, I think, will not defeat Rusev. I think the reason to have that match on Raw with Reigns and Rusev was to have Reigns get his, hey, he can totally beat Rusev. But I think the reason you don't have Roman Reigns beat Rusev here, regardless of whatever shenanigans happen with Lana or whatever else, you don't have him beat Rusev here because it is pretty clear they're going to launch him into the Universal title picture almost immediately with this. Heyman got ejected with this shit, right? So you don't want to have him win the U.S. belt because then you got to have him lose the U.S. belt. So instead, just have him not win the U.S. belt and then go on to win the Universal belt from whoever wins that in that match tonight. That makes sense, right? You're going to keep him looking strong, make him look strong. So some shenanigans. I think they need to keep Rusev in a pretty dominant position. So having him win will actually be significant in some way. So that might be bucking the trend of what everyone else is going to pick. But I seriously think that Rusev does have a shot here at winning this match against Reigns. Certainly, he'll make him look strong in the process. Perhaps a double countout. We don't know. All we do know is that Brooklyn crowd is going to eat him alive. Holy shit, those boos are going to be epic. I don't expect a heel turn. I don't expect a double turn. But man, those Roman Reigns boos. Kevin Dunn working overtime, turning the volume down on those fucking boos. Anyway, John Cena, AJ Styles. John Cena, AJ Styles. So certainly the popular opinion would be, hey, AJ Styles got his one win against John Cena. No one has gotten multiple wins, certainly in a row, against John Cena since CM Punk in like 2011, and even those had a bunch of fucking shenanigans happening in Suplex City in the background. So that, is certainly a thing to consider. Guys like Owens, guys like Rusev, they get their one win against Cena, which makes them look good for, a month, and then they just lose the rest of their matches. So the thing here to think about is, number one, because SummerSlam has both rosters. What the fuck is that, Randy Orton? A reverse Boston Crab? Like, what? Because SummerSlam has both rosters, that means that AJ Styles is there, but so is the rest of the club. So certainly, you could see some shenanigans with the club causing AJ to win, but more damningly is the fact that John Cena has signed on for another season of American Grit on Fox, which means that he will be going away for a little bit to film bullshit reality TV, and that, to me, says, hey, put over AJ on your way out before you come back. Get your win back later, because there's no sense of having AJ lose here. AJ's still on TV while John Cena is not there. But we'll see how it plays out. I think AJ is going to get this one by hook or by crook, with the club, without the club. I think that it is more important to give that win to AJ Styles than it is to give it to John Cena as he leaves to go film some more stuff. So, moving into our top 3 matches here. This is a long fucking card to discuss, I'm sorry. Dean Ambrose, your WWE Champion, takes on Dolph Ziggler, and they've been trying to make Dolph Ziggler look like more of a threat in recent weeks, because before SummerSlam, he was fucking doing the kickoff shows with Baron Corbin. Who gives a fuck? So trying to make him look like a credible threat. They've been trying to build up the super kick, as in the same way they're building up the RKO here. Just one super kick, one RKO. But I think we'll probably see more than one. I think there's no reason to put that belt on Dolph Ziggler. I think Ambrose retains. It could be a great match. It could be kind of boring. Who knows? It's kind of up in the air. But I think just, a regular clean victory here for these guys. It's kind of a face versus face match, or kind of a tweener match, because both these guys are kind of doing face and heel stuff at the same time, so I don't even know who I'm supposed to cheer for in this match. Both? Neither? Fucking who cares? Ambrose wins, retains the belt. I think that... Whoa, Randy Orton, there you go. Some of this stuff you really have to take into consideration when it comes into other stuff. So if it feels like they're building to a Randy Orton-Wyatt feud again for some reason, that means that Randy Orton is not the next contender for Ambrose as the champion. So that would make sense for AJ Styles to win and then be the next contender to fight Dean Ambrose at the next pay-per-view, I think is Backlash. So yes, I would certainly say Ambrose and AJ at Backlash, and then Randy Orton Wyatt at Backlash makes the most sense. So, anyway, moving on. We have this match, which is Finn Balor and Seth Rollins to be the first Universal... It's still a dumb name. The first Universal Champion. The main belt for Raw moving forward. We don't know what it fucking looks like yet. They're going to obviously unveil it either at SummerSlam or on Raw the next night. But this is a hard match to call for, I guess, a couple of reasons. Because certainly, you could make strong arguments for both men to win this match. And as we've known from NXT, when Finn brings out the Demon doesn't lose. So if we're getting the Demon at SummerSlam, why would you go through all that and then have him lose? But there could be shenanigans. There could be a return of J&J Security. There could be Finn Balor and the Club, because as we know, that was the club, that was the Bullet Club in Japan, was those men. And then when Finn left Japan as Prince Devitt, then AJ Styles stepped in as the leader of the club in Japan. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So that's the reason that you assume that they put the club on Raw and not AJ, is to have them be with Finn Balor for a heel turn. Certainly, I think it is too early, way too early, for a Finn Balor heel turn. He just came up to Raw, way too early. So this is a hard match to call because it could go in a bunch of different ways. There could be more fucking Jon Stewart interference. You don't know. I don't know. But I think Vince likes to shock and surprise. I think that they have certainly a strong opening for Finn Balor here. So by the end of the night, I think by hook or by crook, you will certainly have Finn Balor as your first Universal Champion. Perhaps he'll lose it on Raw the next night, but I think he wins it tonight. But I'm like, in my brain, it's so 50-50. Like, my official call is Finn Balor, only because it makes no sense to have him do the Demon and then lose. Then that makes the Demon look like a fucking pussy. All I'm saying. So that brings us to our probably actual main event, which was most likely the last match on the card, is going to be Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. The match that nobody really should care about, the match that's 15 years in the making. And I hope the video package will finally show that their match from SmackDown in 2002 It probably won't, but it should. They have one. And considering, you got a Raw guy and a SmackDown guy, and you got, a full-time guy and a part-time guy who doesn't fucking get drug tested. Anyway, the question is, who wins this match? Who does it value? Like, what's more valuable? Is it more valuable to keep Brock as the final boss of the WWE, or because Brock's not going to be here this week after this match, does it make more sense to have Randy Orton move forward? Is there any kind of punishment that they're considering? They always punish guys for, being shitty. Is there any actual repercussions for Brock failing 2 drug tests in UFC? Obviously they aren't, whatever. But Vince, as we know, is a very vindictive individual, and that's the kind of thing that he would do. And we know that Brock himself does not care about his win-loss record. All he cares about is that sweet fucking cash. So I think that that in the unlikeliest of scenarios, you have Randy Orton go over here. And I think it plays out like this. Randy Orton hits that RKO. They've been building for weeks. Nobody gets out of the RKO. One RKO, and you're done. Randy hits the RKO. Brock kicks out. The announcers fucking go ballistic. The crowd can't believe it. Everyone's going wild. But it's Brock Lesnar. So I think it takes perhaps 2, maybe even 3 RKOs to take out the beast, Brock Lesnar, and put over Randy Orton. Because Randy Orton will be here on Tuesday nights moving forward. Brock Lesnar won't be on Raw for who fucking knows how long. But hey, they could just do another generic Brock Lesnar 16 suplex squash match. Always possible. Always possible. But my official pick, my unlikely pick, is Randy Orton. So, coup de grace? Nice. Nice. So that's it. Long, rambling, winded SummerSlam predictions. It's the second biggest show of the year, so fucking why not? Although I do like the Royal Rumble better than I like SummerSlam. But hey, that's it. I'm attackslug. Leave your picks down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Every day, my videos right here on this channel, and I'm out.